with the Republic. You're watching. This is exclusive. I'm Soesha Sawant. Through the next half an hour, we continue to get you the latest as it is less than 13 hours when the new Parliament building will be inaugurated. What exactly is happening in the national capital as preparations are underway? That and other stories in this edition. First, a quick check of the headlines. My Parliament, My Pride is the biggest national campaign. Nation awaits the inauguration of the majestic building. Sacred Sengol, that was sidelined by previous governments, will get its rightful place in the new Parliament. With a day for the new Parliament inauguration, opposition continues to attack the new Parliament building and Sengol.
आप इतनी संख्या में मुख्यमंत्री नहीं आएंगे तो यहाँ जो निर्णय लिए जाएंगे तो अपने प्रदेश की जनता की आवाज आप नहीं ला रहे हैं?
8 chief ministers from opposition ruled states boycott Niti Aayog meeting. BJP asks politics above development. Pilot versus Gehlot fighters escalating. Sources now suggest that Pilot is all set to vacate his government residence now. Praveen Netaru's wife loses government job under Siddaramaiah government. Has revenge politics hit its peak? And first up, we get you breaking news updates as PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti has put out a tweet that reads, and I quote, "In a democracy where in India, even assassins of a prime minister have been pardoned, the case of a political prisoner like Yasin Malik must be reviewed and reconsidered. The new political Ikhwan gleefully supporting his hanging are a grave threat to our collective rights," unquote. That's the latest tweet by PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti, who is once again batting for separatist Yasin Malik. This as the NIA urges death sentence for the separatists. Mehbooba Mufti is favouring Yasin Malik and asking that there must be a review and reconsideration on the punishment given to him. In fact, the tweet that reads, and I quote, "In a democracy like India where even assassins of a prime minister were pardoned, the case of a political prisoner like Yasin Malik must be reviewed and reconsidered. The new political Ikhwan gleefully supporting his hanging are a grave threat to our collective rights," unquote. Mehbooba Mufti, who is known for always favouring terrorists over the forces, is once again leaning towards the same, as this time she is batting for none other than separatist Yasin Malik. When after all these years, the NIA now is in an attempt to seek for death sentence for Yasin Malik, Mehbooba Mufti asking that there must be a review and reconsideration of the same. Gurumurthy is with me on the phone line to get us details on the same. Gurumurthy, well, her reaction is very much on expected lines. In fact, the reason why so many separatists like Yasin Malik were able to thrive all these years in the valley and function the way they did because they had the support of the likes of chief ministers like Mehbooba Mufti. And today, when this is reaching its rightful conclusion and the NIA is seeking death sentence for him, Mehbooba Mufti once again asking that there must be a review and reconsideration.
See, it's like Mehbooba Mufti once again standing like a wall for the pro-terror groups in the Kashmir Valley, because see what the Mehbooba Mufti is saying. She is terming Yasin Malik as a political prisoner, but that is far from the reality. They are those people who have generated funds for the terrorism. They are those people who are behind the killings of the Indian Air Force personnel. the Kashmir Valley since the start of the terrorism. And they have been those stooges, those who have been working on the directions of the Pakistan and their intelligence agency ISI for some amount of money. So now the Mehbooba Mufti, for her political gains, is trying to target Altaf Bukhari and is trying to take a side with Yasin Malik by saying that he is the one who is the political prisoner. But the reality remains that it is that he's a political prisoner, but it is his anti-India activities that for which he is now being tried in the NIA court, and NIA has moved for a death sentence of Yasin Malik in the case that pertains to the terror financing.
You know, Gursimran, the actions of Yasin Malik and the very reason why the valley was in the state that it was, whether it was the misleading of youth or terror activities spreading across the valley, is known to one and all. But at a time when Yasin Malik is now really, when the NI is moving in the direction seeking death penalty for him, and for all those who have faced injustice because of that man, are heaving a sigh of relief, because this is what they wanted for years. Here is Mehbooba Mufti once again standing, like you said, like a wall in between Yasin Malik and those getting justice for all that they have had to face because of the likes of Yasin Malik.
See, what Mehbooba Mufti is trying to do, she is trying to garner some votes. She is trying to revive her vote bank politics, and for the same, she is now trying to appeasing those who are standing by Yasin Malik. There is no other reason for the same when it comes to the Yasin Malik, because Mehbooba Mufti is also well aware of the fact that it is not that any case that is linked to the political activities that Yasin Malik has called, or Yasin Malik has been any popular leader in the Kashmir Valley who has contributed to the democracy. He was the one who was only propagating the agenda of the Pakistan and the Pakistani intelligence agencies, and that is the bloodshed in the Kashmir Valley, be it by picking up the weapon or radicalizing youth or motivating them to go against the Union of India. So Mehbooba is well aware of the reality, but now since she wants to stand by Yasin Malik, that is the sole reason she is making statements like these, and also trying to target those politicians who are welcoming this move of the capital punishment to Yasin Malik.
Yes, absolutely, and we'll try and get more voices on this. Gursimran, for the moment, many thanks for getting us these details. And we are shifting our focus back to what is happening in the national capital. Yes, in about 12 hours from now, the Havan will start with that milestone that is yet to be etched in history forever. This is the inauguration of the new Parliament building, where Prime Minister Modi will be doing the honours as he will dedicate the new Parliament building to the nation. The preparations are done. Security is being beefed up, and deployment of the same is underway in and around the new Parliament complex. Republic's hashtag is My Parliament, My Pride. That has become a nationwide campaign. We get you all the details in this report on what tomorrow is going to look like.
A magnificent and majestic new Parliament, an architectural marvel that fills every Indian with a sense of pride. A triangular-shaped structure spreading across 64,500 square meters with the 6.5-meter national emblem atop. The Lok Sabha has been designed keeping in mind the national bird peacock. With the Ashoka Chakra behind the Speaker's chair and Sengol on the podium. This house can seat 888 parliamentarians. Carpets sourced from Mirzapur in Uttar Pradesh, furniture from Mumbai. This house has a spacious viewing gallery as well. The new upper house, Rajya Sabha floor, has been designed on the theme of national flower lotus. Rajya Sabha will now have a seating capacity of 348. Both the houses have large screens and equipped with new technologies like electronic polling. The new Parliament building has truly become a symbol of New India. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And well, the whole planning to build a new Parliament House that has now turned into a reality finally. It's been a long-standing demand by various opposition parties, but the demand that arose due to multiple reasons. We'll tell you all of that in this report.
This 96-year-old building that has seen power shifting from the British to Indian Republic. The existing building, which served as independent India's first parliament, has witnessed several historic events, including the adoption of the Constitution. Some milestone economic decisions.
We have to accept the need for restructuring and reform if we are to avoid an increasing marginalization of India in the evolving world economy. The economic policy changes brought about by our government under the inspiring leadership of Prime Minister Narasimha Rao in the last 8 months are inspired by this vision. India is on the move again. We shall make the future happen.
Some memorable speeches.
उन्होंने कहा कि ये कहां से आए, क्योंकि उनके यहां विरोधी दल का नेता ऐसे राष्ट्रीय कार्य में भी सहयोग देने के लिए तैयार नहीं होता। वो हर जगह अपने सरकार को गिराने के काम में लगा रहता है। ये हमारी परंपरा नहीं है, ये हमारी प्रकृति नहीं है, और मैं चाहता हूं ये परंपरा बनी रहे, ये प्रकृति बनी रहे। सत्ता का खेल तो चलेगा, सरकारें आएंगी जाएंगी, पार्टियां बनेगी बिगड़ेंगी, मगर ये देश रहना चाहिए, इस देश का लोकतंत्र अमर रहना चाहिए।
Debates on issues of national importance.
That several developing countries have now accepted the Indian model, and that is now being accepted. Now translate this experience that you've had as Indian democracy and India's economy matures, that rather than come to everything that the economic powers say and say, well, that's the mainstream, we can't be dissenters. What will be the effect of the 17B that you have introduced?
Some very important announcements.
राष्ट्रपति संसद की सिफारिश पर यह घोषणा करते हैं कि वह दिनांक जिस दिन भारत के राष्ट्रपति द्वारा इस घोषणा पर हस्ताक्षर किए जाएंगे और इसको सरकारी गजट के रूप में प्रकाशित किया जाएगा, उस दिन से उक्त अनुच्छेद 370 के सभी खंड लागू नहीं होंगे, सिवाय खंड 1 के, जिसे नामत निम्न अनुसार पढ़ा जाएगा.
The reminders that this structure is a temple of democracy. But over the years, the structure could not withstand the scourge of time, and questions have been raised over the safety standards. The structure lies in seismic zone 4 and construction of new building was need of the hour.
ये नया संसद भवन विश्व के न सिर्फ सबसे विशाल बल्कि सबसे प्राचीन लोकतंत्र का भव्य और उपयुक्त मंदिर भी होगा. This will be the temple of democracy of not only the world's largest but also the world's oldest democracy.
A 2012 report shows Congress too was in favor of a new parliament complex. The union government had also filed an affidavit before the Supreme Court saying the nearly 100-year-old building was showing innumerable signs of distress and faced many safety issues, including serious fire hazard, necessitating construction of a modern building. The spectacular ring-shaped pillared structure at the foothills of Raisina Hills in New Delhi has stood the challenge of time, but is now losing the battle for space and other modern amenities.
पहली पॉइंट तो ये है कि नई पार्लियामेंट की जरूरत है, इससे कोई इनकार नहीं कर सकता. दूसरा ये कि मौजूदा जो पार्लियामेंट की बिल्डिंग है उसको फायर सर्विसेज से क्लियरेंस नहीं है, उसमें कोई क्लियरेंस नहीं है. अगर आग लग गई तो उसका क्लियरेंस नहीं है.
The number of people working and visiting in the new parliament has increased over the years, hence more and more space is required.
जब देश में सांसदों की संख्या 2026 के बाद बढ़ने की भी संभावना है, तो वर्तमान संसद एक नए भारत की जरूरतों को कभी परिपूर्ण नहीं कर पाएगा।
Technologies present in the old Parliament building are now outdated, making new technologies like electronic polling a must-have. The old Parliament building, designed by British architects Sir Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker, took 6 years to be constructed. The construction was completed in 1927. And now, after 2 years of rigorous construction work involving 60,000 workers, a new building is ready for our parliamentarians to take over. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And well, the historical and sacred Sengol received by first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, symbolizing the transfer of power from the British to India in 1947, and is all set to be installed in the new Parliament House on the 28th of May, that is tomorrow, by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, embarks the Tamil history from the Sangam age over 2000 years ago, and history that is going to be revived as this sacred Sengol will be installed in the Parliament tomorrow. Republic spoke to Dr. Padma, who had written to the PMO on the significance of the Sengol that will be brought back to the limelight again tomorrow.
Well, there is a historic significance from very remote times, but then it was very significant from last 75 years, because that Sengol was handed over to Pandit Nehru as a symbol of or I would say a symbol of transformation of power from British Raj to Indian Raj. So when I went through this article in Tughlaq magazine written by Gurumurthy ji, the whole thing was, to be honest with you, I was moved. As a cultural historian, I was moved. I was wondering why such an important event is not recorded in any history book. I am a student of history. Not a mention of this is there in any language. Leave alone Tamil. I'm sure if it is not there in Tamil, it won't be there in any other language, because Sengol itself is a Tamil word. It has great significance from moral, ethical and values of governance. It is much more than mere religious symbol. It's wrong to think that it is only a religious symbol. Sengol, actually kol means stick in Tamil. And Sengol is well known to anyone who has studied Tamil literature. And if you see old paintings, you will find kings holding a scepter. The concept of scepter is something which has been common to the whole of Indian subcontinent. They call it Dharmadand. And here Sengol means coal is a stick. The word Sem means refinement. It's a refinement of the very way of living, the way of thinking. So thought, word and action is all included in that one word Sem. Something which has been refined is Sem Mori. Tamil becomes Sem Mori, which means refined language. So Sengol is something which represents the very idea of justice, proper governance, equality in treating it's not a symbol of monarchy. This is what I want you to understand. The monarch is presented the symbol to make him realize and always remember that there is accountability to justice.
Dr. Padma, when you wrote to Prime Minister Narendra Modi Did you ever imagine, or you had in the slightest of idea that this Sengol will become the pride of Bharat? It will be installed in the new parliament building. And when you got this, when you got this information, and there were several, chain of events which triggered after your letter, you have a slightest of idea, and when you got to know about it, what was your first reaction?
Well, actually, when I wrote the translation in English of Tughlaq magazine, and also, of course, a covering letter requesting PMG to make use of this Sengol, trace it from somewhere, bring it to the notice of people. Because it was a great event that took place 75 years ago. And like action replay that you have in your television, even for cricket, I thought some kind of an action replay has to be there as part of Azadi Ka Memorial, the celebration for 75th year. This is all that I anticipated, I requested, and now it has become much more after 1.5 years of my writing, because they have taken time. I understand IGNCA has been behind the research that they did to make sure that there is evidence for all that is being said in that article and whatever I translated. So the Ministry of Culture through the IGNCA did all the necessary study and research to make sure that you have proper evidence. And now that it is being installed in the right place, I feel so elated that I've been like the squirrel in the Ramayana in a very small way to trigger this, but I'm only hoping that my dharmic cultural awareness is not creating any controversy. It should not. If you have any sense for cultural values of a nation and historic values, I think this is a very pride moment for every Indian. I think it should not be politicized. In fact, it's a pride of the entire country.
Padma ma'am, when you spoke about controversy, I guess you have, seen and read in various articles that since the time it's decided that Sengol will be installed in the new parliament building, there's a lot of controversy around it. Jairam Ramesh, the senior Congress leader, says that there's nowhere written that it is the transition of power. It is meant like transfer of power. It is nowhere written. It is being politicized ahead of Tamil Nadu, to gain political benefits in Tamil Nadu. Some leaders say it is not a transfer of power, it is a mere monarchy. And we have also seen that, almost 21 opposition parties have already stated that they will not be the part of the very important ceremony, the inauguration day. When you hear all these things, what comes to your mind?
Well, I don't know. Do you think I should feel guilty for having triggered such an important thing? I feel very proud. On the contrary, I don't think I should feel guilty. I'm feeling very proud that I have brought out something very important and significant, though I never anticipated that this will be kept in the new parliament. When I wrote the letter 1.5 years ago, this new building of the parliament was not known to me, at least. I was not aware of it. But then I feel you can't be fighting like children. I think it's time that we all come together to value heritage, value culture. I've been quite a globetrotter, and there are countries I don't want to mention. They don't have big history, But every small thing, which is even 50 years old, is kept in a museum with a big label that it is 50 years old. And for us, 5,000 years is not big. And when we can't understand cultural values, if cultural values are not important for the world anymore, there should be no UNESCO. UNESCO is meant, it was formed only to validate culture, validate all cultures. So when you validate culture, it is beyond politics, it is beyond narrow-mindedness.
And you just heard from Dr. Padma, the person responsible for bringing the Sengol back to its rightful place, into the limelight back after she had written to the PMO first. And remember, tomorrow on the 28th of May is when the Sengol will be placed in the new Parliament building. We continue to get you all the updates on the same. For the moment, we slip into a very short commercial break. Also, a quick check of the big stories we're tracking for you this evening. Pilot versus Gehlot fight is escalating. Sources now suggest that Pilot is all set to vacate his government residence.
The people of India must launch a counter movement against this insult to the country. And the hashtag for tonight is My Parliament, My Pride. I can't believe that the opposition intends to now boycott the inauguration of the new Parliament of India. If they do, then they should be ready for a huge backlash. Target is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In the process, they are willing to do anything to seek revenge, including this bizarre idea of boycotting a national event like the inauguration of the new Parliament building by the Prime Minister of India. Why did Rajiv Gandhi inaugurate the new Parliament Library in 1985? Was he the President of India? The people of this country, 140 crore Indians who elected the Prime Minister of India, have no significance. Are the people of India now less significant than the Vadra Gandhi family who inaugurated everything under the sun in their time? Let us say now we are proud. Let us collectively raise our voices against this dangerous attempt. The day when our new Parliament, my new Parliament will be inaugurated. Let us therefore make it difficult.
Of theme, which was Viksit Bharat at 2047. Those of you who were here last year would recall that that meeting took place on August the 7th. And in some ways, the great national debate on Viksit Bharat and the Amrit Kal really got going on August 15th, when Honorable Prime Minister spoke from the ramparts of the Red Fort. But let me, at this point, just request CEO Shri B.V.R. Subramanyam to pick up the thread on the themes that were discussed and some of the guidance we got from Honorable PM.
Thank you, Dr. Berry. As he has mentioned, this is the 8th meeting of the Governing Council of Niti Aayog. It's almost held every year. I think it skipped one particular year because there were COVID and other issues, but we held that on VC. Again, as Dr. Berry has said, this was held in Pragati Maidan for the first time. So the first time that the convention center was being used, and I'm sure as and when the pictures of the meeting are released, you will see it's a very grand structure. The third is, what was the theme? The theme was Viksit Bharat. And I think it's important. Why was the theme chosen? As VC has said, last 15th of August is when the Prime Minister gave the call that India should be prepared for the next 25 years. This is the Amrit Kal. And at the end of the Amrit Kal, Bharat ek vikasit desh banega. We will be a developed nation in the next 25 years. And why is Vikasit Bharat so important at this point? It is important because India is at a takeoff moment. And what is the takeoff moment? We are not only the largest country by population, which we just probably crossed in the month of April by some estimates, we are also the world's 5th largest economy. But if you look at it, the 5th is going to become 3rd in a couple of years. 2, demography is in our favor, not just in terms of total numbers of people, but also in terms of the number of youthful people. India has about 20% of the world's working age population in a couple of years, and it is going to be the largest provider of working age people for the next 20 years or so. Our average age, the median age of our population is between 28 and 29. Just for comparison, in our neighborhood, the average age is about 39. So that shows the kind of lead we have, and this population is going to be reasonably youthful for a while. The time has come for India to utilize this opportunity. Countries which have crossed this particular level of development actually then go through a rapid period of sustained high-speed growth if the correct things are done. So we actually have a 20-25 year period where if we do the right things and do things the right way, then the country can actually meet its aspirational goals. There are other things which are going for India. Digitization is very high in the country. The world actually looks towards Digital India, as the Prime Minister said in the meeting. He said, I've just come back from foreign tours, and then the amount of interest that is there on the kind of activity that is happening in India on the digital front is something which is actually stunning the rest of the world, and they're looking at us with amazement. In addition to that, we're a highly entrepreneurial economy. I mean, we have the world's 3rd largest startup ecosystem. There are almost over 90,000 startups which DPIIT has got on their records, and we have over 100 unicorns. So given our aspirational population, given the demographics, given GDP which is there at this point, given that we're on the last mile in terms of resolving a lot of basic access issues like Sadak, Bijli, Pani, we are at a point where we actually now move from basics to actually going towards development. So I think that was the theme. The second is the whole world is looking at India. And that's what the Prime Minister emphasized multiple times, that this is an opportunity for us to grab. And he mentioned that to all the chief ministers, saying that go and grab the opportunity that is there. And he has emphasized that India grows when states grow. I think that captures why Vikasit Bharat becomes relevant to states, because bulk of the action to become Vikasit Bharat is at the state level, be it industries, be it electricity, be it water supply, be it skill development, be it education, be it health, everything is in the states. So I think that's where an organization like Niti Aayog plays a very good role, and that's what the Governing Council is all about. It is a platform where the center, states, union territories sit together, discuss their developmental experiences, look at the long term, exchange notes, and try to align their goals and their plans and strategies so that we all achieve collective goals. In his opening remarks, the Prime Minister did talk about a large number of things. He said that all the people in the room have a collective responsibility to fulfill the aspirations of 140 crore people. We need to have a common vision, and we need to have a strategy. The aspiration of Vikasit Bharat is not an individual's, not a small group's vision. It is a vision of the people of India, which we all will have to conceive and fulfill. He also mentioned about the successful manner in which the center and states have cooperated in a couple of programs. He mentioned the aspirational district program, which is actually run at Niti Aayog, where about 112 districts, which otherwise are backward in indicators, have been identified, and states have worked to actually pull up those districts on indicators. And he also referred to a program which we are about to launch, launched by the Prime Minister formally, which is aspirational block program, taking development down further. 500 blocks in the country have been picked up because of poor socio-economic indicators, and to again give the same kind of focused attention. And again, beautiful words from the Prime Minister that you raise the level of those blocks to the state average, automatically the state average will also rise, and then the national average will rise. Then we went on to a large number of things. The meeting itself had 8 themes. Vikasit Bharat was one, which is the overarching theme. There were 6 sub-themes which were there, which were identified. We had themes like ease of doing business and reducing the burden of compliances. Health was there, skills was discussed, MSMEs were discussed, infrastructure and investment were discussed, women empowerment was discussed, and application of PM Gati Shakti. PM Gati Shakti actually is quite familiar. It's been in the news for a while, but this is PM Gati Shakti with a slightly different tilt. It is being expanded further. It already has got about 1,600 layers which are already there. This is using PM Gati Shakti for social infrastructure and area development. That means where do you locate schools? Where do you locate health facilities? Where do you locate social infrastructure, area development in terms of, if you want to locate, there is a program of the Cooperative Ministry of having local godowns for food grains and other local produce. Where do you want to locate it? You will have to see what is the catchment area. So Gati Shakti to be used so that it can be, the planning can be better. The Prime Minister also emphasized the importance of Amrit Sarovar. He complimented the states. Amrit Sarovar. There are over 50,000 Amrit Sarovars that have been built. But he said, why should we rest with 50,000? If you have 75 Amrit Sarovars per district, make it 75 per block. So it actually is water conservation. In a country like India, water conservation is essential wherever there is water stress. He also emphasized the importance of fiscal discipline. We should not be profligate. Funds should be used judiciously, and we also should see that our future generations are not overburdened. And I think he also gave the examples, saying many countries in the world who have been fiscally imprudent are suffering the consequences, and he said we should all behave responsibly when we are doing this. He also covered a large number of other areas which are very, very close to his heart. He talked about Swachhata, he talked about vibrant villages which are there near the borders and how they should be given special attention. He also spoke about taking a competitive approach even at the state level, having state level competitions for between